Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Michelle here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Rodrigo, and he's selling his Amazon FBA and e-commerce business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Welcome to the show, Rodrigo. How are you today?
Hi, thanks for having me. Doing awesome. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm glad to have you here today, and I'm looking forward to learning more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of it. It's an Amazon FBA and e-commerce business in the supplements niche created in February 2019. The average monthly revenue for the business is $154,011, and it makes an average of $43,682 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 55849 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's see what's included. We have a listing transfer with 19 ASINs, 11 in the US, 19 in Europe, and 15 in the United Arab Emirates, a domain with site and content files, an email list with 25,000 subscribers, a trademark, social media accounts for Facebook and Instagram, SOPs and publisher training, and supplier contracts and relationships. So Rodrigo, now let's hear from you. What can you tell us about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, perfect brief about the business. I think it gives a pretty good idea of what it is. In regards to myself, I'm a medical doctor. Professionally, I started building e-commerce businesses in different niches, e-commerce, FBA, telemedicine, and others. And in my journey, I found out that the vitamins and supplements niche was not the correct way developed. And that's when I started doing research. And when I mentioned not well developed is there's no proper guidance. People are looking for results without proper information and instructions on how to use it. And coming from the medical field, I understand that if you prescribe a medication in the wrong way, it won't work. But it's not a problem of the medication. It's a problem of not taking the medication as it is. And that was one of the major problems I noticed in the vitamins and supplements niche. And I started working on it and decided that Amazon FBA was and still is the best marketplace to grow a brand.
And so you have a mixed business model right now. You have FBA and e-commerce.
Correct. I wouldn't say it's mixed because it's about 95% FBA, 5% website. The reason is that way is because in my blueprint of developing new brands, I always focus the first 3 to 4 years only on Amazon. And it continues to grow on the website due to clients that already know the brand and they come and buy, or we partner up with influencers in certain countries.
All right. And so what attracted you to the Amazon FBA model?
I believe that as any other marketplace, you need to take the advantages and understand the cons. Amazon FBA, it has a lot of cons, extremely high fees and others. Competition is fierce, but it's still the biggest and fastest marketplace in the world in the sense, and I'm talking as a seller right now, in the sense that if you can grow your brand in one Amazon marketplace, they make it easier for you to migrate to another one. So you can have, as it is, this business, this brand is in multiple Amazon marketplaces. And I think that's the beauty of Amazon. It allows you to grow fast. So for example, in Europe, you don't have to sell in one country. If you get into Europe, you can sell in 9 different countries at once. And that's the beauty of Amazon until now, 2021.
Well, it sounds like you've put a lot of time and effort into this business, into thinking about how, to launch it and how to grow it. So why are you deciding to sell now?
Yeah, it's been a long time developing the brand. Not so long. It's been since 2018. It's been fast thanks to Amazon, another pro of selling with FBA. And the reason I'm selling is because as I mentioned, I own different brands, other brands, and I evaluate the maturity of the brand in regards to development. And now this brand is ready to be sold. Why? Because it has a lot of upside. It hasn't plateaued at all. The niche in which it is growing quickly, fast. And whoever wants to get into this business, it will get a business that grows by itself. And when I say this is the keywords and searches on Amazon, on all marketplaces, which we track monthly, are growing year by year. So it's a business that just by having the business, it grows by itself around 15 to 20% per year by itself, just because Amazon grows in quantity of users. And the other is you still have the website and e-commerce to direct to consumer sales waiting to be developed, but you have a brand that is recognized in multiple countries. So I think it's the perfect time to whoever wants to invest in it. This is the point where someone who really is interested in getting great cash flow of a business that is already established, mature enough in Amazon to continue growing by itself, but still a lot of upside on direct to consumer and also launching new products via Amazon and the website.
All right. Is there anything that you've learned from this business that you'll apply to future sites or businesses?
Yeah, of course. You always learn. You always make mistakes. I would say the main mistake or lesson learned in this process is to really evaluate the client needs before launching any product. So that's why we created, right now, we have over 26,000 clients, active clients on our list, which we can talk to via email, SMS, and ask them questions about the products, how to make them better, but most importantly, new products to be launched. So that is my lesson. Always build a list of clients that allows you to ask questions and determine which is the best next step for the brand.
No, that's great advice. Is there anything that you did that you tried that didn't work with this site?
Yes, of course. There's always things. Facebook ads and all that, it doesn't really work because of the niche. They have a lot of restrictions in regards to vitamins and supplements in general. So that's not a way to go. It's really costly. So I would never advise whoever is getting this business now or in the future to focus on that. There's other ways to grow the brand. And of course, whenever we have a talk, I'll be glad to express all these plans and ideas that I still have in my head for this brand. And I think it's valuable to share them to whoever is interested in the business so they know the potential or better potential of the brand in the near future.
No, that's great. You mentioned that obviously, okay, so Facebook or social media advertisements are not necessarily a route that you would take. So where does the majority of your traffic come from currently?
As I mentioned, I know we express this as a mixed business, but it's not. It's mostly, as I said, 95% FBA. So traffic comes from different Amazon marketplaces and word of mouth. We have detected that people love the brand, love the products because of the clarity. And obviously, when you have clarity and guidelines, as I mentioned, you get results. And those results talk by themselves. And the only thing that I really will miss about this brand is that it has great word of mouth, which is the only marketing channel that really compounds in time. And to be able to do that, it's basically, you can pay for that. You cannot buy that. It's doing a good job for a certain amount of time. People trust you and then they start recommending you.
Yeah, it shows that you've got a solid product there. So then, other than if word of mouth is the most important as far as in terms of marketing, but what else do you currently do in terms of marketing?
Nothing. I don't spend a dollar in marketing. I just use Amazon and I focus on Amazon ads. That's it. I don't spend any dollars on marketing right now, which for me it's good information for any potential buyer, because if you focus on that and you invest a little bit outbound marketing using our 26,000 client list, which we haven't developed yet because we're not at that point on the blueprint, but we do have the list, which is included in the business. If you develop that, you have 26,000 people in 12 different countries. And if you practice a good strategy in regards to word of mouth, and I would insist, instead of buying social media ads and stuff like that, I would insist in focusing in referrals, do a referral marketing strategy, and that will bring you tons of new clients. One, and two, crazy ideas for new product developments.
I was just going to ask you about that, is that if you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try to grow it? So I know you've mentioned the referral partnerships and the email list, but what are some other ways?
Yeah. So if I would keep it, I have a blueprint. So year 4 of my brands, 4 to 5 years, we start developing other communication channels or marketing channels. So one, as I mentioned, referrals, which is for me the only and most effective one. It has a return on investment of really high numbers if you do it in a proper way. Having the list of active clients already know the brand. Everyone has a friend or family that would be interested in the product. So you can grow that list 2, 3, 4x in a matter of months. That will translate to sales. And the other one is try to get the best influencers in the niche, YouTube, Instagram. It's kind of the same thing as referrals. That would be more in the category of affiliate marketing, but I would do it more as a referral, word of mouth, so they can grow with you and partner up with them. I don't believe in paying commissions because that doesn't keep them stimulated. I believe more in making them part of the company so they will promote it better. I've done that with other brands and it's been a 3 to 10x growth in a matter of 12 to 24 months. So that would be the next step for me if I would keep it.
And I believe you have your suppliers are located in Spain, correct?
Yes, that's another thing of buying a business at this point. Obviously, I started with suppliers. You need to test suppliers, try suppliers, build a relationship with suppliers, eliminate suppliers, have problems with suppliers. And at the end of the story, we have our suppliers in Spain. The reason we have them is because Spain is a capital in the world for pharmaceuticals and others. So creating high quality vitamins and supplements, it's a great place, a really good cost. And obviously, all of our suppliers have all the certifications required to sell our products around the world. So, yeah, in Spain, although we had suppliers in the US, and we have one supplier that, if it's required, it's ready to roll. And I will share that information too, not a problem. It's more costly per unit. That's why we don't use it. But nowadays, with COVID, we've started evaluating those options because transportation sometimes fluctuates in price highly. And sometimes you need inventory in, I don't know, in the US or in Dubai, and transportation is expensier than anything else. So you could pull that new supplier and use it. But as now, we only use our suppliers in Spain, which are great. Packaging is quality is great. And just a little FYI, our suppliers create and formulate medications for the world. So that's the type of supplier that we use, really high end.
Well, could you describe the process of getting the inventory to Amazon?
It all depends. So we can divide it in two. So local and international warehouses. When I mention local, meaning European marketplaces, and we use FBA. So once you get it to one of the European warehouses, it gets distributed by Amazon by itself on every other single country, except the UK after Brexit, which has been this year a adjustment process because last year it was just like I mentioned, you didn't even have to worry. Now you have to worry about the UK. So that will be into the international category, which is basically we have a third party warehouse in which we have inventory and they help us ship everything. So, for example, to get it to Amazon in the US, it's going to take 3 to 5 days. The reason it takes 3 to 5 days is because we're already cleared by FDA, and we will present all this information, obviously, at a certain point. But we're cleared by FDA, so when it gets to customs, it just goes through custom directly to Amazon warehouses. That's why it takes only 3 to 5 days. And we ship air. And in the UAE, it's kind of different because you can't ship directly to the FBA warehouse. So you need a third party there, which we already have, and you can send the shipment there and they will ask for the appointment to be delivered to the warehouse. Tiny little point in the UAE, we were able to ask Amazon to give us the option of getting all of our products refrigerated because they're vitamins and supplements. So we got a lot of high quality reviews on that area because most, and I would say 90 to 95% of our competition, they don't have them in Amazon warehouse refrigerated. It's really hot. So capsules melt, they get sticky all together. You lose a lot of product, but we don't because we were able to get into a refrigerated warehouse, which is awesome. And I think it's a really good to make a good point here in regards how I've been taking care of the business. I really take care of every single detail because at the end, if you get a product that it's all melted, you're going to get a bad review, and all the theory about word of mouth is going to be in a negative way. You don't want that. So yeah, that's kind of how it works, all the shipping suppliers.
All right. And, it sounds like you really put a lot of effort into building this business up and making sure that it had everything in place, as you were saying, with the refrigerated units in the UAE. So can you describe the amount and type of work that you do on this business for maintenance?
Well, that's the beauty of it. Again, I'm going always back to the point that it has a certain maturity right now, not a market maturity because it has a lot of upside. It has a maturity in operations and logistics. It's a business that I spend, 4 hours a week mostly. And it's basically checking inventories and making sure that we have inventory in all areas, on all warehouses. Basically, that's it. Why? Because everything's fully automated. So let me kind of tell you a story about how it works. All of our products since inception, 2018, they have a QR code on their box and label, which people can scan. At the beginning, we had a low onboarding percentage because people really didn't use QR codes. And then COVID came and everybody uses QR codes now. And our onboarding process went through the roof. Once they do that, they get into an automated process of a tool that we use. And this automated process provides customer service information. It determines that if you bought product A in X amount of days, it's going to send you an email asking you if you want a new one with a coupon code or discount, just to make a point in regards recurrence, right? Because you want people to continue buying your product. But everything's automated. So I put a lot of effort in creating all those systems, which are already there. And basically, whoever gets the business is going to inherit them, and you don't have to touch them. I can explain you how they work, why they work. If you want to do changes, my pleasure to walk you through. It's really simple. As I mentioned, I'm a medical doctor and I designed every single flow of the process. So you don't need specific knowledge to do it or update it or make changes. But at the end of the process, it's fully automated. The only thing you need to check is that your inventory is there, that you're not getting out of stock, which is one of the most important things in FBA, and everybody knows that. And that's it.
With all that automation, I know that you had just said checking inventory and whatnot. Are there any other skills or requirements if someone is not familiar with the niche or the business model?
No. And it could sound weird, but I gave access to my mom. She's 55 years old. And I gave her access for a week, and she managed the business exactly as I did the week before that. It's that simple. Even my mom made it happen. And I explained her in 2 hours how to make it. So it's really simple because everything's fully automated. I understand that there's other businesses, and I'm not right now in the seat of the seller, but I've been in the seat of the buyer. And I discussed this with other sellers of businesses. And when you don't have things automated, it's really complicated because it invites a lot of variables that are going to take time. And I don't like that. I like things that work as simple as possible, as automated as possible. Because that way, it's a really attractive business to buy. If it's a really complicated business to manage, well, it creates problems.
Yeah, that's a fair point. What do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I would say that biggest risks right now are not really related to the business, mostly to the worldwide situation. Inflation, shipping costs, suppliers, delays. Although I have to make a point here, I've never had any delays with our suppliers, even during COVID times. Anytime we need more inventory, it takes them 30 to 40 days to deliver it to us because they already know the formulations, labels, and everything. So it's really quick, and I haven't had any problems. But in regards to risks, those would be we need to ship to the US and something happened, or it's delayed, or it's extremely expensive. My advice to avoid things like that, and I'm doing that right now, is I always send via air. That's my preferred method. But now we're sending via sea, which takes a longer time to get there. But I can assure myself that every X amount of time, I'm getting inventory to the other side, just in case something happens. The experience comes from the UK and Brexit last December and January, in which it was such a mess because it wasn't only us. Now it's importing products. It was everyone. So we had a delay about 6 weeks to get inventory there due to Brexit. So those would be the risks that I would have an eye on it and information about it, try to avoid those type of things. There's ways to do it. Third-party suppliers or warehouses in the UK will solve that. In the US, so you can have more inventory if you have the cash flow and investment capacity to get more inventory done prior of time. That would solve or manage those risks. But in regards to the business per se, in Europe, it's so well established in Amazon. It has 1,000 or 2,000 more reviews than the next competitor. So it's really hard to get a new product to compete with ours. And then you have a brand that is recognized. So it's a matter of just taking care of it, continue providing the quality that we've been providing, and that's it. Although there's things that I'm pretty sure, 100% sure that I'm going to miss with this answer. But well, it's business. So you cannot control every single risk. But those would be the main ones I would tell anyone to just keep an eye on them.
Those are some excellent points. I think too, as you were saying with the situation with the pandemic and with Brexit, I think it caught a lot of people off guard. And it kind of sounds like, I remember seeing there was so much confusion surrounding Brexit and what was going to be allowed and how things were going to work. And so, like you said, sort of putting those procedures in place the best that you can to reduce the risk, I suppose, of delays and interruptions.
Exactly. So yeah, and that one that you just mentioned, I would say this is the most important thing is you can prepare, but sometimes they just change the rules so quickly that even if you're prepared. So that's what I'm saying. Just need to keep an eye on it, try to create those systems or put those systems in place, and then go with the flow and do business. The good thing is that if it's affecting you, it's affecting everyone else.
Absolutely.
So it's not that it's only you affected by it, it's everyone else. So that gives you a little bit of hope that you're not going to lose your rank or sales, or everybody's losing sales because they're probably out of stock too at a certain point. Well, nowadays, no one keeps more than 4 or 5 weeks of inventory on Amazon because they don't allow you to. They decreased the amount of units that you can store with them since Brexit, at least in Europe in general. And I remember with the pandemic, it became crazy. But yeah, so those would be the things. Nothing too crazy, but remember that you depend on your products getting to the clients. And one big part is the pre-buying the product. And when I say that is all the process from your product warehouse or lab or supplier or whatever it is to the hands of the client. And there's plenty of things that you don't control, including Amazon stuff.
Well, you had touched too upon some of how you don't really have competitors in the European space. So I was going to ask you, would you commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, definitely. As I said, this is not my first brand that I'm selling, and non-competes are important. I understand that part from the buyer position, but it has to be specific in the sense that I also own other brands that are not related to the specific niche of this brand, another niche, completely different niche or category, but it's still in the vitamins and supplements. So I can't sign that because I already own other brands in that niche. So it's just a matter of discussing what exactly it is. But to be 100% clear, yeah, if the NDA is you can't compete directly with these products or create similar products in the same category. For example, this product that does this in this amount in this version and this presentation, yeah, not a problem. I'll sign it.
All right. And how much support are you offering buyers?
To be honest, any I can give, obviously in the normal average time and development that they might need in the process. But I understand as I mentioned, I've been on both sides. So having someone that is willing to help you get a full understanding of the business, how it works, it's extremely important. In fact, at least for me, when I'm in the buyer position, it's a deal breaker because I will not get into an investment in which the person's not willing to really help me understand how it works. So you can count on that. Not a problem. Whoever is listening, interested in the business, you can count on that. I'm always super open, super responsive. And my goal, it's always to create brands, sell them so someone else can grow them. That's it. And part of giving that support and that explanation of how things work, it's essential. So count with it. Obviously, I'm not going to stay with you guys for 2 years, but yeah, all the process that you need or questions or whatever it is, I'll give you my personal WhatsApp or whatever it is, and you can ask me questions. Not a problem.
Yeah, I think I remember you had stated before that it was more important to you that the transition was smooth and that that a new buyer was comfortable with all of the processes rather than fixing an amount of support.
Exactly. So whenever I hear I'm going to give you 6 months of support, for me, it's not such a great news because you don't know what's going to happen. It could happen something in 8 months and you're stuck with it. No, my intention is, although we're not going to be partners, see me as a partner in which you can ask questions with more expertise until you grasp that expertise, which comes with time. And then I'm pretty sure you won't call me anymore because you'll know what you're doing with your new business.
Right. And it does sound like you have everything set up for a buyer to come in and just take over without too many problems. So hopefully, as you said, you won't need the 2 years of support.
Yeah, if you allow me just 30 seconds, the past businesses that I've sold, in average, took us like 3 weeks to get everything up and running. And then obviously in the process, they had questions moving forward, but up and running in 3 weeks because everything's so automated that what you have to do is basically give access to usernames and passwords of the platforms that we use. In this case, we're doing a listing transfer. And the reason we're doing this is just because I own other brands in the same Seller Central. So that's it. That's the reason. But even that, we already thought about it. So we keep low inventories on Amazon, like weekly inventories on Amazon. So whenever the new buyer comes in, we can make the changes, the listing and everything else. And in a matter of 2 to 4 weeks, you're up and running on your side. That's kind of the idea. And we're prepared for that.
Wonderful. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Yeah. Again, earnouts is a really subjective word. So yeah, willing to listen anything, not a problem. Let's see what we can do together. That's it. If it works for everyone, it's a deal.
And before we wrap up, I have a question for you. I was wondering what drove you and motivated you while you had this business.
Well, I always love to create things out of nothing. I have a really good eye for research and development. And I think I do it in the proper way. As I mentioned, this is not the first one I sell. Last 3 ones that I've sold, it's been also in the same figures as this one. And what motivates me is to create businesses that will allow others to grow them and change their lives. If it's a aggregator, what I just said, it doesn't apply, but they will be able to get a brand with a lot of clients that they trust the brand. And once you get that, those aggregators will be able to promote that brand with other brands and sell them together. So trust, and to answer you at the end of the story, it's only that. What motivates me is to create trust between a brand and a client and a person. And once you get that, growing the brand is not complicated. So that's my motivation, trust.
And you're kind of, touching upon these points anyways, but putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
Number one is fully automated. So it won't take me much time to manage it after the whole onboarding process and getting to know the business, etc. It's going to take you a few hours a week to manage it. Secondly, it has a really high return on investment. So nowadays, you need that because inflation is going crazy. So if you have the amount of money to invest in something like this, it's a no-brainer if the business is automated and functions by itself. The third one is I have 0 employees. I run everything by myself. So if I can do it, you can do it too. And that translates to the automation processes that are set in place. And the other thing is it's still a market specific niche that is growing fast in Europe, in the UAE, in the UK, in the US, still growing with lots of potential. And it has not only potential of growth of consumers, but potential of growth of new products and new marketplaces. I'm going to share just a little bit of information. Right now, we have a list of about 1,000 people that have contacted us to get our products or the brand into the Mexican marketplace.
Oh, okay.
And that's a big one. So that's another thing that I missed telling you. What would I do if I kept the business? I would open the Mexican marketplace for sure, because we already have people like telling us like, where can we buy the products? How can we buy them? When are you going to get them to Amazon Mexico? And that's a really big marketplace with really big profit margins. So yeah, if I'm the buyer and I'm hearing all this and verifying all this information, for me, it's kind of a no-brainer. The next question would be is how can we make a deal that works for everyone?
Right. Okay. So is there anything else you'd like to share that we might not have covered or might have missed?
No, just feel free to talk to Empire Flippers about the business. If you need any specific questions, tell them about it. I'll be extremely happy to answer. I'm extremely responsive. It doesn't take me 1 week to answer your question. It will take me a few hours. So let me know. Hopefully, if you're looking into the listing, you see the effort that it's behind it, the how robust it is so far, and the huge potential ahead.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time, Rodrigo. It's been a pleasure to learn more about you and your business.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, let's see what happens. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 55849. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.